Musk versus Donald Trump, round two. Yes, they're back at it. Well, Trump hasn't jumped in yet. I'm sure that'll be a video tomorrow. But Elon Musk battering Donald Trump again. And again, it's about the so-called big, beautiful bill. I hate the names of every one of these bills. The Inflation Reduction Act had nothing to do with inflation reduction. The big, beautiful bill is not remotely beautiful, although to be fair, it is big. That's among the complaints about the bill. All right, so I'm going to tell you what Elon Musk is mad about. Then I'm going to decode it for you guys and tell you what he's actually mad about. And then I'm going to tell you what's going to actually happen with the bill. Okay, so you'll get to know the future by the end of this video. That's fun for everybody. Wanted to remind you guys, of course, Mondays through Fridays, right here on the Young Turks on YouTube, 6 o'clock Eastern is when the online news show begins, Young Turks. So check it out every day, 6 o'clock Eastern, goes all the way to 8 o'clock. Oftentimes have interviews at 8. And sometimes oftentimes we'll have bonus episodes for the members. That's why you join. You hit the join button below, you become a member, get all of our content, and help support independent, honest programming. We appreciate you guys for that. All right, so now I'll try to do member or super chat shout outs as I go along. So what did Elon say? First, that's the easy part. Let's do this. Some details about the budget bill came out, and he wrote on X, the latest Senate draft bill will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Utterly insane and destructive. It gives handouts to industries of the past while severely damaging industries of the future. Okay, now there's more where that came from in a minute, but let me decipher that for you guys. Where the hell's my electric vehicle subsidies? And you're still going to keep the oil and gas subsidies? You're still going to keep the oil and gas subsidies, but you're going to take away my subsidies after I gave you $300 million. What the hell did I do that for? Which is a good question. So credit and discredit here all around. I'll break down different parties and why they deserve the credit and discredit. So first, Elon is right. The bill sucks. Elon is right. The oil and gas subsidies in there are an abomination. Something else that he's called this bill before. $17 billion a year. Ro Khanna put an actual number on it. He's found $17 billion in oil and gas subsidies that goes to the richest companies in the world. They're not nascent industries. They've been around for over 100 years. It's nothing but a pure robbery. Not one legislator, not one pundit can explain why we need to give away $17 billion of your money, take money out of your paycheck to pay ExxonMobil and Chevron. It's absolutely outrageous. He's right about that. In terms of the electric vehicle subsidies, no, I'm going to score that one for Trump. Now, look, you could say that electric vehicles should have subsidies, and that is something that Joe Biden passed and Democrats are in favor of, helps with climate change, and there's good reasons for that. But overall, I don't like giving subsidies to companies. If you want to give a subsidy to a company, then the American people should get equity in that company. We're investing into that company. We even have a website about it in regards to Elon, where'sourcut.com, because we've given a lot of subsidies and contracts to Elon's companies. But to me, the most important part of the subsidies, if we give you money out of our pockets, we're investing into Tesla. We're investing into these companies. I could live with that, especially because we want renewable energy to get larger, but you've got to give us equity in return. And of course, they never do. Or you got to promise not to cut jobs, right? And of course, they never do. The CHIPS Act passes. They don't put any provisions to protect American jobs. And Intel fires 20,000 employees after the bill passes, and they pocketed the $20 billion that they got. So I'm tired of all of those subsidies, and the American taxpayers get nothing for it, right? So in that case, taking out those subsidies is kind of a mixed bag. I would rather keep them in for nascent industries and important ones like renewable energy, but get equity back for the American taxpayer. But overall, I could live with that being taken out. Okay, so, but Trump is right in that, hey, listen, just because you gave me donor money doesn't mean that I have to follow what you're saying. Now, I have said this many times, like, Turks, brilliant idiots, etc. Trump loves to screw over his creditors. That's why he went through 6 major bankruptcies. And so he thinks, hey, Elon, you already gave me the money. I'm already president. Sad day for you. But that's not such a bad attitude for a politician to have, right? So let's be, I know, being fair, it's an outrage. It's an outrage. Everybody go yell about it. But in reality, he is screwing over one of his donors and not delivering after he got the bribe, at least on that counter. He's going to deliver in spades for Elon anyway, in the Golden Dome project and in many other projects. Golden Dome is nothing but a robbery. But Elon doesn't like any of his subsidies being cut, so he's going back to war. So he wrote a little bit later again on X saying that the bill was utter madness. And of course, is on top of him calling it an abomination in round one. And in round one, he had said this massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Okay. Well, yeah, they're all doing wrong, but that's partly because the whole thing is wrong. The whole thing of, hey, let's give another multi-trillion-dollar tax cut for the rich, and let's continue to give corporate subsidies. Let's continue to give corporations everything, and let's cut from the average guy, and let's cut from Medicare, and let's cut from SNAP. Let's cut from the people who need it the most and give it to people who need it the least. But is that why Elon Musk is upset? No, he's upset that he didn't get enough. He's like, I wanted more goodies for me and my companies. Well, then don't pretend that it's about the debt or deficit. And to be fair to Elon, he doesn't like pretend too much that it's about the debt or the deficit. That's other Republicans. So for Elon, he's like, where's my goodies? So it's not a compelling argument overall. Of course. So now when you move to other Republicans who are complaining about the bill, they like Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, they're like, it just doesn't have enough cuts. We cut 1.1 billion from SNAP and Medicaid, but or 1.1 trillion, I should say. By the way, that's the same number, if you haven't heard me say it before, that we are giving in tax cuts to people making above $500,000 a year. So we're taking from the lowest, like people who desperately need healthcare and food, and we're giving it to people making above 500,000. Same amount, 1.1 trillion. So that's just unconscionable, and no one is complaining about that. I mean, Bernie Sanders is, Ro Khanna is, but I don't see Democratic leadership going nuts over that. But some people say, hey, you know what? They do complain about tax cuts for the rich from time to time. So credit where credit is due. But overall, I would be highlighting that one fact if I was Democratic leadership over and over and over again. Why do you have to take the exact amount from the poorest people and give it to people who are really rich? I mean, when you get up into the top 1%, on average, I think that they're saving $62,000 a year in taxes. Why? Why do they need an extra tax cut? It's insanity. But that's not why Republican senators are opposed to it. In fact, Rand Paul says, oh my God, can we just vote on the tax cuts? But you're claiming that your number one concern is deficit and debt. The tax cuts are what's creating the deficit for this bill. That's what's creating the debt. The spending cuts you say are not enough, but they're there. They're over $1 trillion in spending cuts on just the two programs I mentioned, and let alone all the other programs and all the other spending cuts. So you don't want to do the spending cuts. You just want to put in the tax cuts. Well, then you're going to add at least, if you take the House version, the Senate version is worse, but at least $3.3 trillion onto the debt. So how does that help? No, they're monumentally full of crap. Okay. So watch at the end. This is now my prediction. And this is a super easy one. This is because this is what happens in every budget bill, every Republican fake fight. Now, Elon and Trump fight is not fake. Elon's actually pissed he's not getting the subsidy. And then when he gets criticized, Trump actually gets pissed. So I can't wait for Trump to respond. It'll be another fun food fight. But the Republicans objecting to it, outside of Tom Massey and a couple of guys who really are like, wait, we're really going to add 3, maybe even 5 trillion on the debt? This is just nuts, right? But I don't even know Massey's position on tax cuts, so I'm not even complimenting him on that because I don't know it. But the others, no, it's fake. It's a fake fight. They'll never ever take out any of the tax cuts unless, by the way, one of their compromises might be taking out one of the tax cuts for you guys. So I've always thought one of their BS compromises will be like, okay, you know what? It's just adding too much to the debt. So, all right, fine. We'll lose the tax cut on tips or overtime. Or if it's a total utter joke, and they want to rub it in your face that the rich run everything and MAGA was a total fraudulent exercise, then they'll take out both of them. Okay. But probably they'll either take out none or one of them. But at the end of the day, they'll leave all the tax cuts for the rich. They'll leave all the loopholes for corporations. They'll leave in all the totally, utterly needless junk corporate subsidies where they take money out of our pockets and directly give it to their donors. They'll leave all of that in. It'll cost at a minimum of $3 trillion. They'll pile it onto the debt. And at the end, all the Republicans will bow their heads and go, yes, sir, of course, sir. Tax cuts for the rich, tax cuts for the rich. We need it. We need it. And they'll blow a giant hole in the deficit like they do every single time. And so when I see Republican senators on TV going, I don't know where we're going to find the money we need to balance the budget, but I don't know how we're going to balance it. It's the tax cuts, stupid. That's how you do it. It's super easy if you just take out the tax cuts. But they will never do that because that is the one thing that all of their donors want. Yes, Trump's donors, mainly the establishment Republican donors, and yes, a little bit of the establishment Democratic donors who are like, oh, golly, gee, I wish we could fight this. There's nothing we could do, right? There's nothing we could do. Yes, we all agree. Lock arms, lock arms. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Oh my God, did our donors get all the money? And that's what's going to happen, guys. That's the end of the story, and you know it. In the meanwhile, we'll have fun fights. Elon and Trump will fight. Rand Paul and Ron Johnson will pretend to have principles. And at the end of the day, they'll all vote for it, and they'll add an enormous amount to the deficit. And the next time they go to do this exercise, all of mainstream media, if they still exist, will have collective amnesia. And they'll say, well, the Republicans really care about balancing the budget. There is zero proof of that. They never balance the budget. And in fact, they add way more to the deficits, way more to the debt than Democratic presidents do. Obama took down the deficit from when he came in, first year he came in, to when he left. He took it down by 50%. Clinton took it down by 150% and left a surplus. The Republicans gorging on debt. Oh, supply side economics will trickle all over your head, said Ronald Reagan, and he added $2 trillion to the debt. What happened? It didn't work. It didn't work. And then George W. Bush added $4 trillion to the debt. And then Trump, in just one term, added $8.4 trillion to the debt. That's all they ever do, and that's exactly what they're going to do now. So let's have fun with the silly food fights. But outside of that, this is all one big show. At the end, the donors will get everything. The poor will get cut. The middle class will probably get cut, and then the theater will continue. All right, Disco Stew. Writes in on Super Chat. Jake, are you saying our politicians are corrupt and dishonest? Well, Disco Stew, that is exactly what I'm saying. That's right. And honestly, seriously, like cable news is outraged by that. Mainstream media is outraged by that. Like the New York Times and Washington Post, if I tell them almost all of our politicians are crooks and corrupt, they're like, oh, how dare you? Those are horrible politicians that we need access to. Breaking news. My source for his own benefit says this, and I reported it like a moron. Oh, look at that. That same source has given a lot of advertising money to the New York Times and CNN for ads that they're running during the elections. Wow, what an amazing coincidence. Okay, but here on the Young Turks, we do the truth. Monday through Friday, the online news show. When is it? You got that right, 6 o'clock Eastern. Goes all the way to 8 o'clock because we got to fit in all the news, isn't it? And then sometimes beyond, and certainly for our members. Hey, if you want to join, hit the join button below or go to tyt.com/join. That's a great place to join. You get a couple of months off annual membership. I'll see you guys at if Trump strikes back, I'll probably see you again. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday at 6 o'clock, guys.